In our headlines for this evening, Premier attends conference on international finance and Caribbean Culture Pageant Committee shows appreciation to NIA. The details are straight ahead. Good evening and welcome to the Nevis Newscast. Today is Thursday, January 15th, 2015. I'm Donis Wilkinson Keynes. Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Vance Amory, says he is glad to have had the opportunity to meet with individual providers of financial services when he traveled to Orlando over the weekend. Premier Amory and the Director of the Nevis Investment Promotion Agency, Kimon Moving, were attending the 49th Annual Heckling Institute on Estate Planning, one of the biggest conferences dealing with international finance.
We had a reception which was held to meet specific people, and this reception was hosted by Liberd and Dash and Ackerman, a company which has a trust company here in Nevis, to invite those specific people to focus on Nevis. And as I've always said, our biggest attraction is when we attend these large conferences to have a focus group where the Nevis products and the Nevis Island can be the focus of attention. And I think those who were there were very impressed with the services which we offer in Nevis. And I can say that out of that conference and that special reception, we have a number of people who have indicated interest in coming to Nevis, but also continuing to do business in Nevis.
Premier Amory says he thinks that the economic activity will be good for Nevis as the government continues to promote the island.
Ms. Kimon Moving, who is the marketing director at NEPA, she stayed on for a couple of more days to continue the process. And I'm sure that when she comes, she will also be able to report on the success or the benefits of that marketing effort which we did over the last weekend. I think the people of Nevis can feel, based on the comments which we receive from those who have been, that we have a good country. And I can only appeal to all and sundry to ensure that we maintain the security, we maintain the stability, and we maintain the peace and the peacefulness of our country, because that is our biggest attraction, in addition to our people who are very resourceful.
Premier Amory believes in 2015, Nevis will see an increase in economic activity and the financial services sector will be one of the catalysts for that increase. Miss Caribbean Culture 2014, Yaridi Morton, today paid a courtesy call on the office of the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Vance Amory. The purpose of the visit was to make a special presentation to the Nevis Island Administration, one of the sponsors of the pageant.
Premier Amory, on behalf of Mr. Randy Jeffers and the Miss Caribbean Culture Pageant Committee and myself, Miss Caribbean Culture 2014, Yaridi Morton, we would like to thank you so much for your contribution to the show this year and in previous years. And we have a fabulous time at the opening cocktail. It was very well done, and I just want to say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your contribution to realizing one of my dreams and to assisting Randy with bringing a little flavor into the Culturama activities for 2014.
In his response, Premier Amory noted that it was his pleasure to host the cocktail on behalf of the people of Nevis.
Ms. Morton, I want to openly congratulate you on winning this prestigious title. And I know from my knowledge of you, having seen your performance in Kitts, and I saw some of the performance here, that you will be an excellent ambassador for both St. Kitts and the Nevis Culturama festivities as well. And I want to use this opportunity to congratulate Randy Jeffers as well on his vision and his commitment to the development of pageantry in St. Kitts and Nevis, especially Nevis, where he has housed and located his cultural queen pageant. I think Randy has done a wonderful job with attracting so many wonderful young ladies and putting on a good show. Very professionally done, Randy. And I believe that with experience and continued involvement, it will get better and better.
Premier Amy says he looks forward to hosting more cocktails in the future as his way of welcoming Miss Caribbean Culture Queen pageant delegates to the island of Nevis. Today we caught up with Doctors Brian Cohen and Daniel Caruso, two of the 4 doctors who will conduct the Urology Associates 7th Annual Prostate Cancer Screening Clinic on Saturday, January 17th. The prostate cancer screening clinic will be held at the Occasions Conference Center at Pinney's Industrial Site. Registration will be open from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Dr. Cohen spoke about the objective of Saturday's screening.
The idea with prostate cancer is that once the disease starts causing symptoms, it's too late to be able to cure it. So the idea with the screening is that you want to try to find it before it causes symptoms when it's in a curable state.
He also described the screening process.
We ask all men between the ages of 40 and 75, and especially those men who may have anyone in their family who has been diagnosed with prostate cancer in the past, to come out on Saturday morning. Registration starts at 7, goes through 11 o'clock in the morning. You'll get registered. You'll have your blood drawn for a test called a PSA test. And that's a blood test that we use to try to identify men who may be at higher risk for having prostate cancer. And then once the blood's drawn, you'll see one of the doctors, either myself, Dr. Caruso, Dr. Thwaites, or we have Dr. Kamal Mars is coming from Jamaica today as well. And you'll have a prostate examination, which involves us placing a finger into the rectum briefly to take a feel of the prostate, to feel for any irregularities or firmness that the prostate may have.
According to Dr. Cohen, family history, race, and age are of utmost importance in terms of identifying men who are at high risk for prostate cancer. He says of the 495 men who attended last year's screening, there was an abnormality detection rate of 7.67% with a cancer detection rate of less than 1%. When asked how often a man should get his prostate checked, Daniel Caruso had this to say.
For men between the ages of 40 to 75, we recommend that this is something that's done annually. And the good news with respect to this screening is we do have past records with respect to people's exams and PSA tests. So we're able to appreciate any change in trends, but it's very important to come once a year for this brief screening.
The team of urologists will comprise Drs. Dwayne Thwaites and Kamal Mars. An interpreter will also be available on Saturday to communicate information to men who are members of the Spanish-speaking community. We'll have more local news after this break.
We are the grade 3 students of the Jackson Primary School, and you are watching MTV. Yay!
Welcome back. Nevis will make history in April of this year when it hosts its first blues festival. The Nevis Blues Festival, as it is uniquely named, will take place on the 16th, 17th, and 18th of April at the Owali Bay. According to the official website, the festival will consist of 3 nights of music by American, British, regional, and local performers. The setting will be the Sundowner Stage, purpose-built at Owali Bay, just yards from the beach and with bars and food stalls. The performers for the festival will be the Ian Siegel Band.
From the rivers to the mountain, coast to shining coast, there's a silver line of Mercury's winding like a ghost. You can hear me in the grasslands, you can hear me in the trees, moving through the valleys like a wayward summer breeze. You can sense me in the atmosphere, across the dusty plain. I'm not the station, I'm not the stops, I am the train.
Denise Gordon.
I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the rose.
and the popular Zach Harmon.
I wanna take you in my arms and hold you. Take you in my arms and squeeze you. Oh, baby. Ooh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
The cost is $35 per night for regular tickets and $150 for VIP tickets. Regular season passes are $95 while VIP season passes are $400. Tickets are available via the festival's website, nevisbluesfestival.com. For general inquiries, persons should email nevisbluesfestival@gmail.com or info@nevisbluesfestival.com. In more local news,
some Nevisians express unhappiness that Alexander never returned to Nevis to lend support to his land of birth. However, we must remember that his life was cut short in a duel at 47 years old. Again, leaving 8 children, the youngest being 2 years old. Travel in those days, transportation in those days were by steamers, and the ship on which Alexander Hamilton sailed to the U.S. took over 3 months. Just like today, where many Nevisians and Kittians leave home for the developed country, then return home at retirement age, so too Hamilton, had he lived longer, he might have returned to Nevis.
That was Executive Director of the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, Evelyn Henville, speaking at Friday's Alexander Hamilton Scholarship Fund Tea Party. She was speaking in support of the Society's recommendation to have Hamilton named the national hero in the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis.
It is important to note that while he was in America, he contributed to the Caribbean. And this, when I researched and found this, I was truly, truly touched. It is important to note that Toussaint L'Ouverture, and we should all know who he is, children, we should all know who Toussaint L'Ouverture is, because I'm sure by 6th grade you should have learnt of Toussaint, the #1 slave in Haiti who created the revolution and became president of Haiti. When he needed help with the creation of a new constitution, he approached Alexander Hamilton, and Alexander Hamilton helped with the creation of the first constitution for Haiti. Alexander Hamilton also recommended his best friend, Otto St. Croix, who was appointed as the U.S. ambassador to Haiti.
Henville says the records ought to show that in his writings, Hamilton always claimed Nevis as his birthplace.
In one of his writings, he mentioned himself as that good old Creole from Nevis. We have our young Nevis Youth Council who will be doing an Alexander Hamilton should be a national hero in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis debate. Venue, the Nevis Performing Arts Center. It's at 8 p.m. and it's $10. Tickets can be purchased here. We would like you all to remember that. The 16th of January, national debate on Alexander Hamilton, to be or not to be a national hero. And it is being put on by the Nevis Youth Council.
Tomorrow's presentation will see debaters Tamika Vifus and Kajal Smithen making the proposition's argument, while debaters Cletissa Daniel and Pearl Bergen will oppose the moot. That's it for this evening's edition of the Nevis Newscast. Thank you for viewing. Good night.